Hey guys, welcome to our planning session where we use real life experiences and interest based learning to plan our lessons instead of curriculum. This week in reading, we are focusing on understanding character, setting, and events. But when I first start planning, the first thing I need to do is I determine where is she within that skill? Like what level? Is she at the basic level where she's just identifying and describing characters and the settings and the major events with details? Or is she at the building level where she's explaining the characters, their actions, choices, and how they drive the events and a change in the outcomes? Or is she at the meaning level where she compare how different characters respond to challenges and analyze the settings and how the settings shape the outcomes? So the first thing I do is to determine where she is within that skill, and we are on the building level. So this week we're going to be explaining how the characters' action and choices drive events and change outcomes. So the first thing I need to do is I need to look at the explanation of the skill. What is it that I am actually teaching and what does it mean? So at this level, they're moving from like naming story parts to explaining how those parts work together. They learn to describe the characters in depth, their traits, their motivations, and actions, and they explain how those actions drive the events or change the story's outcome. They're also beginning to recognize the cause and effect relationship within stories. So there are several steps that she's going to have to go through, or your child's going to have to go through when they are in order to master this particular skill. First, they're going to have to identify who are the key people, the characters, where does the story take place, the setting. They're going to have to explore. They're going to have to explore what does each character want and what do they have to do to get it. Then they're going to have to explain how do their choices change what happens, and then they're going to have to reflect how how would the story be different if the setting changed or the characters made another choice. So these are things that your child is going to have to do in order to be able to actually master this skill. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create activities. I have activities that I'm going to use to do that is not curriculum based. So we love movies. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to watch a movie. It can be your movie night. You can make it fun. You can have your popcorn, all of the things. So night one, we're just watching a movie. While I'm watching that movie, we are not writing anything. I am not interrupting anything. After the movie is over, we're going to just talk about it. Who are the characters? Where did it take place? We're going to go through those questions that I just shared with you guys: to identify, to explore, to explain, and reflect. At this stage, we're just talking about it. That's it. Now, the next day, I created this chart where we are going to start jotting those things down. So we have the characters, we have the setting, we have the beginning, we have the middle, and we have the end. Now, if you have more than one child and your other child may be on that basic level, this is the basic level. So the skill just builds on each other. So we're going to do this activity from our previous lesson that we've already had done maybe a few weeks ago. And now we're adding to it the character, what they did, who did it, action, what did they do, and result and effect, what happened because of it. So we are just building on the previous level of this skill. So we're going to take that movie that we watched for movie night, and we're going to do that activity, and that's going to be the next day. Now, throughout the week, we're going to do other activities. So I have some little chains. This is going to help with the cause and effect relationship. Because blank did blank, then this happened. You can use this in several things. You can use it in different conversations. Because the girl shared her lunch, the new student made a friend. And so you can build this chain with any event that you can think of, and we'll just hook the chains together. So by the end of the week, if you're doing this activity, often you'll have several link chains. Another activity, you can do a character rewind. Imagine changing one action in the story. Ask, what if this character made a different choice? Talk about And talk about how that changed the events or the ending. Another activity is setting switch up. Choose a familiar story or a family memory and ask, what if this happened in a completely different place? Then you'll discuss how changing the setting would impact the characters, the action, the overall events. Character rewind. Pretend to be a character from a book, a movie, or even a family in a past event. Interview them. Ask, why did you do that? Or how do you feel when whatever happened? That's going to help you to explore different motivations. We also have an event predictor. Pause during the story or a movie or a TV show or a family outing. And based on what the characters have done, where they are, predict what's going to happen next. Afterwards, you can even compare the predictions of those actual events and discuss why they were similar, why they're different. Perspective swap. Retell a familiar story or a recent family event from a viewpoint of different character, different points, or different person being involved. How does their perspective change? What's important? What happened? How does it feel? So we're going to do those activities throughout the week from just different things that's going on throughout our day, different events, experiences that we're having. And then on the last day, she has independent work. Same chart, but it's in her notebook. She's going to use the text she's reading. We're reading the Vanderbeeker series right now. So she's going to use that text and she's going to have the character. She's going to have the setting, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Character, who did it, action, what did they do, result, effect, what happened because of it. And this is going to show me if she was able to master the particular skill that we went throughout the week. Now, going back to how I know if she mastered it, to know if she mastered it, can she identify the main characters and describe their actions? Can she explain the characters' choices after events? The characters' choices and how they affect the events. Can she describe the setting and how it shapes the story? Can they identify cause and effect relationships? Can she explain how the story changes from the beginning to the end? If your child can answer those questions, or you can say that they're able to answer those questions and do those things, they've mastered the standard. But if your child is struggling, model it. Go back and do a model it aloud, add some visuals, draw a timeline, a flow chart. You can rewatch short clips, pause it, talk about the cause and effect moments, simplify stories, use short episodes, commercials, or even fables at first. It doesn't have to be like a full-blown movie or something that's really, really long or a long text. It can be something really, really small. Let them retell it from their world. Tell me something that happened today. Who was there? What did they do? How did it end? All of those things you can use if your child is struggling. I like my daughter to I like to write. I don't know, I always want her. I'm still at that place where I just want her to have something to write every day. So as she's reading her story, she has to read 20 minutes or a chapter every day. So as she reading that story every day, I'm gonna have her to respond to certain questions. What detail from the text shows how the character felt? If I want to focus on characters on Monday, what's the main character trying to do or get? What does that tell us about their personality or values? How do their choices affect other characters? What mistake or lesson does the character experience? If I want her to focus on events the next day, what happened because of the character's action? What was the turning point or what changed? How do those events lead to the story ending? What connects the beginning to the end? Or setting, I have some setting questions. How does the setting affect what happened? Would the same story make sense somewhere else? Does the setting create the mood? Happy, scary, exciting? So throughout the week, I'll have her responding to some of these questions in her notebook. And it all leads up to being able to master this skill. If you don't have a text or your child's not reading something every day, you can do this if they're watching TV every day, if they're playing a game, if you want to just talk about a quick story, a trip to the store, whatever it is, you can use that to be able to teach this skill, and your child can master this skill without having to use a curriculum and going through all those different steps and all of those different motions. I don't know about you, but in our state, we're not required to do standardized tests. So I'm not preparing her to take a test where she has to do this, and that. Think about all the things that we learned in school that we don't even use. I'm introducing this to her, making sure she understands it. And this skill is going to be taught at several different levels. So it's going to keep coming back. It's going to keep coming around. And by the time you finish it, she'll be then mastered what she needs for this skill and be able to apply it to like everyday life. So this is our planning video for reading. If you guys are interested in what I use to plan, I created this guide that you can use with all of your reading skills at several different levels for ages 8 to 11. And you can teach all of these skills using real life experience. So I'm going to tag that in the description. So if you guys have any questions for me, drop me some comments. And thank you guys for tuning in to another planning video with us.